Next news that we got here is New York Giants Quentin Dunbar attorney went on KJR 950 yesterday and said that his client was not involved in a robbery that happened last week. His attorney went on to say that he expects Dunbar's case to be dropped due to the lack of truthfulness. I'm sure you're familiar with what happened last week between the two football players that basically went and robbed a poker game. That is what has been said. Do you have any thoughts on what happened?
The story has changed quite a bit since then.
Yeah, I'm confused.
You're confused? Okay.
There's two stories.
There's four.
There's four? Oh, I only know
There's four
two.
different NFL players who got arrested for something to do with what's it called? A gun, a firearm. Mm-hmm. So it all started last week when Miramar PD issued arrest warrants for Giants cornerback DeAndre Baker and Seahawks cornerback Quentin Dunbar. It was for armed robbery. They were both at a party when, according to witnesses at first, and this is from the first original arrest warrant and police report, the witnesses said that both Dunbar, Baker, and another man robbed everyone at gunpoint. It's since then been walked back, and that other witnesses from the party are saying that both Baker and Dunbar were robbed at the party as well, and that this whole thing has turned into a shakeup. One thing, let me see if I can pull it up. I can't.
Because I do know. Okay, the one thing that I saw, the last thing I saw was basically they lost a poker game, and they believe that they went back to collect what they lost.
You're mixing up stories.
Yeah, that's why I'm just
you're talking about a completely different person.
Dude, I'm just like, I don't know, bro. This is one of them stories where I'm just like,
that story is completely like separate from this one.
Yeah, that's what I figured, bro.
You're talking about Corey Latimer.
Oh, that's that story?
Yeah, you're talking about Corey Latimer.
Okay, let me ask you this. With all these stories of NFL players that are basically either A, got drafted, B, have a second year in the league, with everyone not being able to go into the office, because right now OTAs were to start. Do you think not having OTAs has affected some players to go back into? No, you don't think that?
No, dude. Okay, like 4 players got arrested. How many players are in the league?
A lot, but I'm just. I mean,
how many players? You got to remember, right now each team has about 90 on the roster. So right now that's 28,000 players.
Right.
28,080 players. When you take in 4 of those players, that's not even 0.17% of the league.
True.
It's less than 1%.
True.
So, as I was saying, Baker and DeAndre were basically what's coming out is that it looks like they were set up and that they got robbed, but initial reports were that they were the ones being robbed. Their attorneys are really working diligently to try to sort everything out. Latimer was booked on assault, menacing, illegal discharge of a firearm, and a reckless endangerment. So the story behind that is that Latimer was at a poker game, and that there was an argument that took place, and that the Latimer's friend who owned the apartment that the poker game took place kicked everyone out. So what ended up happening is Latimer, 30 minutes later, showed back up with a gun and supposedly threatened to kill both the host of the poker game and his girlfriend who were there at the time.
Yes.
There was an altercation.
Yes.
There was an altercation. There was a fight that happened, and Latimer ended up discharging and shooting the gun, not at his friend and his girlfriend, but in the near vicinity, almost like a warning shot. Now, yesterday, it just came out that this whole argument that took place at the apartment was that Latimer was I didn't write it down. Latimer was initially upset because the argument was about, I don't want to say it wrong, but it was about some sort of physical abuse with his child.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I
Okay.
I think it was sexual from what I remember.
It was
But
something that had to do with. Okay, you're right.
so I think that story is completely crazy as well. And then the fourth story was Ed Oliver, defensive
Oh
lineman for
yeah.
the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
He was found driving under the influence. The cops, they said he had an open beer can in between his legs.
Uh-huh.
But when they pulled him over, and that he also had a firearm in the car. Um, but besides that, that's all he was really arrested for. There is a video of the arrest taking place, and they have him doing the roadside sobriety test and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to what you said about the teams and how they're not able to go handle or go into the facilities. So for Oliver, the Bills defensive lineman, his team is letting him still partake in all the Zoom meetings, whereas
Oh, okay.
Baker, the cornerback for the Giants,
Mm-hmm.
he was told to stay away from online Zoom team activities until he gets his legal troubles issued out. So I think so. Each team is kind of taking their own approach and precautions. But this week was crazy when it came to firearms and NFL players. Yeah,
Jesus.
a lot of, and it's crazy because like I've been following this story for the last 5 days straight, and every day when I wake up, something new comes out and completely changes and flips the script. So,
There's always something new with that.
There's probably going to be something tomorrow with it too. So, that's really been the biggest news of this week NFL wise so far.
Talking about NFL. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, that's all. Those are all NFL players.